you don't know what you don't know. The topics that I pick are things that I'm personally interested in, and that's the cherry on top of the cake.
Is there like one specific part of the process that you procrastinate the most?
Oh my God, I have to now answer comments on my channel. That is my favorite part. I learned more in 1 hour of your videos than a year of university. When I installed Unreal Engine, I was like, no, this is a game changer. I've had some videos where I finished completely and then deleted. Every time I think of putting YouTube on pause, it makes me sad.
Wow, that's beautiful. Hey everyone, welcome to the Creator Trove podcast. Today's guest is Ali Alzahi, a software engineer who's built one of the most respected Unreal Engine tutorial channels on YouTube. His videos are known for their clarity, for their depth, and focus on real-world coding practices. Today we'll talk about how he grew his channel to over 50,000 subscribers while working full-time, the mindset behind this content, and what it takes to turn teaching into a sustainable business. Ali, thank you very much for joining.
It's happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Let's dive into the first question. From what I understand, you don't actually have a background in games. So can you tell me a bit about your background? When and how did you start using Unreal Engine?
Yeah, so my background is indeed mainly in software engineering and specifically web development. And games have always been sort of a passion or hobby of mine, as most game developers start out as well. And yeah, I would make like little mini games, mobile games in the browser, because that's what I knew how to do. And yeah, every now and then I'd pretty much follow the news on what gaming engines are doing, what's the latest technology in like 3D rendering and things like that. But I never really got into it until, yeah, about like 4 or 5 years ago when I decided to, well, I think it was around the time Unreal Engine 5 was being released, and there was a big hype around Unreal Engine 5, and I was like, yeah, let me see what the hype is all about. And I decided to just install the engine, and yeah, I think from that day, I never stopped opening it on a daily basis.
I assume your background is in JavaScript, so I would imagine that Unity and C# are kind of closer to something you're used to.
Yeah, definitely. And I started out with Unity first before Unreal Engine, made a few games like just to practice and followed some courses. And it was nice, it was fun, but I never felt impressed by the engine. It felt like just another tool. I was like, hey, this is pretty fun and I can really get into it. But when I installed Unreal Engine, I was like, no, this is a game changer. Really like the amount of features that it has. Of course, it's overwhelming when you first install it, but it really, really makes you feel like you can do anything because everything is just in this one tool.
I actually wanted to ask you, like an unrelated side question, but I'm curious, how much do you think your choice of engine was affected by the marketing behind Unreal Engine 5? So
when I look back at it now, it feels like it was significantly affected by the huge amount of marketing behind Unreal Engine. Of course, if there wasn't this marketing, especially when Nanite and Lumen came out and people were like, oh, Unreal Engine can do global illumination in real time, and this was something that was never done before. And I just wanted to know what did they manage to do that was never done before? So whenever someone says like, oh, there's this new technology that changes the landscape, I was like, yeah, then I really need to know what it is. Of course, it is an impressive technology, but at the end of the day, just a technology that saves time. You don't have to do shadow maps, but you now just turn on a checkbox or something. So it does save time. It is a very, very impressive and powerful technology, but the marketing behind it makes it feel like, yeah, I need to know what they did. And because of that, I decided to check out Unreal Engine. But that's where marketing ended. Now I have the engine open. And of course, I have all these tutorials on YouTube that I can start following. And once I did that, I think there was one 5-hour tutorial from, I believe it was Unreal Sensei, that YouTube channel. And it was just about the time that Unreal 5 came out. And I just opened this tutorial and I found myself just watching the entire 5 hours. And after that 5 hours, I was like, okay, I think I can do this now.
Is this something you are considering to do yourself? One of those like super long free tutorials on YouTube?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've considered. For beginners, it's very useful because you don't know what you don't know. So it's hard to search I want to learn this if you don't know that this is what you need to learn. So if you have one very long video that is chunked in a meaningful and linear way, so that in the beginning you're learning the very basics and you keep learning more and more, and then throughout the process you understand, okay, these are the things that I need to learn. And at the end of a very long video, now of course you've learned a lot of things, but most importantly, you've learned what you need to now go ahead and learn extra. So I think that would be my aim, and yeah, definitely considering doing something like that.
If you're trying to turn your content into income, I've put together a free guide to 100 ways to monetize your content. It's a practical list of ideas that actually work, whether you're just starting out or you already have an audience. The link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment.
Yeah.
So currently you are making, YouTube videos, managing your community, and obviously growing your channel, and you're doing all of that in your spare time. And what has this been like in terms of the workload, in terms of sleepless nights, in terms of stress? Do you feel like it's been, straightforward journey for you? Or have you had to make sacrifices?
I feel I've definitely had to make sacrifices, but it never felt that I'm losing something. It always felt like this is something I want to do. I never felt forced to do it, or I've never woken up and like, oh my God, I have to now answer comments on my channel, or oh, this video needs to be edited. It never felt that way. And I tried intentionally not to make it feel like a job by not focusing too much on how many views is this video getting? What's the watch time? Is this video making money? Is another video making more money? Should I then try to follow what the audience actually will watch, or should I just make what I want to make or what I will enjoy the process of making? And also, most important thing to me was I don't want to be tied to strict schedules, like, oh, I need to release a video every 2 weeks. Sure, if I can release a video every 2 weeks, that's great. But if I miss a week, it's fine. It's not what I depend on. So it was always in this comfortable position where I will do what makes me feel comfortable at the time, and I will make sure that the topics that I pick are things that I'm personally interested in, so that I'm motivated and passionate about the content that I'm teaching. And if people end up liking it, and even better, end up joining my Patreon and paying for it, then that's the cherry on top of the cake.
Even with all the deadlines you have to follow at work, you can just come home and work in your hobby, which can also act as a side business. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be exhausting. That's really good that you can just enjoy the process and see results from that. If you want help growing your social media, growing as a creator, and better monetizing content, I'm currently offering free audits of your content and social media. I'll take a look at what you're doing and send back clear, personalized advice. There's a link to apply for that in the description too. It's fully free and there's no reason not to do that. Just fill in a quick form and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So one thing that really stands out to me is you actually teach best practices, even when using blueprints. Was this a conscious decision to, spend some extra time planning how you're going to implement something from the start? Or was it something that evolved over time because you realized that people are making mistakes because they're not following the industry standards, for example?
I recall my first proper tutorial was how to build a damage system in Unreal Engine. And in this tutorial, I made the conscious decision that I'm going to use interfaces, structs, actor components. I'm going to build it in a scalable and modular way. Not because I thought, oh, this is what is going to get the most views. No, but I felt this is what I was missing when I was learning Unreal Engine. There were a lot of tutorials that show you how to do something, but they never focus on why. And they teach you in 10 minutes really quick, oh, you want to make a damage system? Great. Write this function, create these variables, and you have a damage system. But as you add more and more features to the game, you end up realizing this is very difficult to maintain. Adding a new feature can break everything else. And showing the code to a potential partner that you're going to work with, is very difficult to get them to understand what you did. And these things were a problem when you just get over the beginner phase. When you're a beginner, it's fine. If you're prototyping a game, completely fine. But just as you're over that hump, it becomes a big problem. And of course, as you said, my background in software engineering taught me that you will face these issues. 100% you will face them down the line if you don't plan for it in the beginning. There is such a thing as over-engineering, of course, but there are certain standards that you just have to adhere to. There are tutorials that show these standards, but also never explain why. And I think that's a really important thing for education, not just creating a tutorial for someone to follow, but for someone to learn something from it, is to understand, why did I use an interface? Why do I use an app?
Yeah. And that would, in my opinion, explain the amount of positive feedback you get in your comments and where people kind of compliment your teaching style. Would you say that this positive feedback, all these comments, help you stay consistent with creating content? Would you say that this is a big, motivator for you?
Yeah, as much as I'd love to say I don't care what other people think and all my motivation is intrinsic, that's just not the case, of course. I make these videos because I like sharing knowledge. I want to give back to the community, and I have fun doing it. And the main goal at the end of any video is for a viewer to leave the video having learned something new. So of course, when I get a comment from someone saying that, oh, I learned more in 1 hour of your videos than a year of university, then of course this fills me with joy, and I feel like I achieved my goal and motivates me to keep going and keep doing more. So definitely it helps a lot, and yeah, it's a sort of the fuel in the engine.
Do you take, ideas? Do you take suggestions from your audience in terms of what videos you be making, or is it all, stuff that you are interested in yourself?
So ultimately, the choice of what video I will or won't make will depend on if I'm personally passionate about the video. But the vast majority of ideas themselves come from my audience, either on Patreon or from YouTube comments. But every comment that I get, like, oh, you should do a tutorial on this, I add it to a list that I have. And if it's from Patreon, I prioritize their requests a bit more because, of course, yeah, they're the paying customers. And at the end of the day, I look at this list and feel like, okay, what's fun to make now? What would be a cool video? And of course, what would be an educational video? I also don't want to just repeat something that already exists. So if someone tells me like, oh, how do I make a video on how do I open a door? It's like, well, there's probably a lot of videos and tutorials on how to do that. If I teach it, I don't think I'll add anything to it. And even if it's a popular search term, and I know it's going to get views, and I know that maybe it's going to drive a sort of wider audience to my channel and then have them watch my more niche videos, it's still, I'm not adding any value to the Unreal learning community. And that's always a goal as well.
So would you say that you don't focus on search terms, what would people actually search for? You would say that you create videos that either show up for your existing subscribers, or something that shows up in the recommended section, but not something people would actually search for?
I think haven't tried making a video for a particular search term. So of course I can make a Unreal Engine beginner tutorial. Mm-hmm. That would be a very searchable video. I haven't done something like that before. Most of the most of my views come from recommended videos or home feed. I find these are more entertaining for me to make. I enjoy the process more. And I also try to learn something new in my videos as well. So if I want to learn something about Unreal Engine that I haven't learned before, then making a video on it forces me to go ahead and learn it very well, cover all the resources, structure a lesson, and then teach it, which by the end of 40 hours of making a video, I've mastered that topic. So it's a perfect way for me to learn as well. So that's usually how I would pick videos.
Yeah, that's how basically I would imagine your approach to making content. There's one thing that you are interested in learning yourself, and you kind of just share your experience with others.
Yeah, and I also try to focus on series and different collections of episodes. So I have the Games Dissected series, where I take a popular game mechanic and then explain how that game mechanic works from my understanding of it and any content that's available online. And then I show how to recreate it in Unreal Engine. To me, the process itself of, okay, now I want to know how the perfect dodge in Black Myth Wukong is done. Going and finding out this information, playing the game a lot, trying to pause at the right moment and see exactly what's happening, and then try to recreate it is a very fulfilling process for me. And I learn a lot about the game itself, and I learn a lot about Unreal Engine. And it makes for a fun educational tutorial as well. So I try to make these sort of ongoing series that follow a certain theme. Same with the software design patterns in Unreal Engine. I know how to apply software design patterns in my job as a software engineer, but in Unreal Engine, what is the equivalent of an event bus? So I want to learn that. And while learning it, I was like, yeah, I think this is very valuable for people to know. Now that I know this, let me try to teach the same topic as well.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of games dissected, so Black Myth, Wukong, Arcane, would you say that using a trendy topic such as Wukong, would you say that it helps in terms of promoting the video?
It's hard to tell because I haven't made a games dissected video on a non-trendy game at the time. So the first one was Hades. It was just when Hades 2 was coming out. Then Black Myth Wukong when it's been released for a few months, and then League of Legends when Arcane Season 2 was also just a few months over. So they've usually been topics in people's minds. I would say they got similar views to my other videos. Surprisingly, my most successful videos are the ones about software design patterns in Unreal Engine. And this led me to believe that, okay, people want to learn best practices. They like knowing how to do something and why do it this way and what happens if you don't do it this way and why do these patterns exist at all. And I think these topics were definitely one of the more successful topics. But at the same time, I know the software design patterns very well, being a software engineer for over a decade. So I was like, yeah, I like it, but now I want to learn something new. So I'll pause those for a while.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how YouTube is moving in mysterious ways in terms of you would expect that the trendiest topics would make your channel blow up. That kind of blends with my next question, which is who do you see as your kind of core audience?
So based on so I have a channel on Discord where people can introduce themselves. And of course, on Patreon, I have people reaching out to me, and I sometimes do one-to-one calls with people. So this is how I get to know my audience. And based on that alone, they are a wide variety. So there's a lot of artists that want to learn gameplay programming. They're 3D modelers, they're visual effects artists, they're they're into virtual production, but they want to now learn programming or a bit of programming. There are a lot of people switching from Unity to Unreal Engine, for example. So they are programmers, but they want to learn a different tool. There are a lot of people also switching from a completely different programming field, such as web developers that now want to get into game development, and also a significant portion that's just completely new to game development without a background in software engineering or game design or art, and they want to become game developers. So I've seen all kinds of different demographics, but the one thing they all have in common is I teach gameplay programming. So I don't do technical art. I don't do 3D modeling, visual effects, animations, things like that. So I teach gameplay mechanics, how to how to program these certain mechanics. And this is well, the vast majority of my audience want to know this. Some of them, sure, want to learn something a bit more like level design. And I do teach game design in my gameplay programming videos. So if I'm explaining how to build a certain game mechanic, I'm also explaining why this game mechanic should be built this way to be fun for the player. And this sort of helps, but core is gameplay programming.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So it's even artists are interested in learning, kind of deepen into gameplay programming and then want to just make something pretty. They are interested in making something that's functional.
And that's why Unreal Engine is really powerful for them, because you don't have to learn the syntax of a programming language and should I put the semicolon here or put the open curly bracket there, which can be really frustrating when you're starting to learn. All you need is the logic behind programming. Blueprints is still writing code, but you don't have to worry about syntax anymore. All you need to worry about is logic. And after you've learned blueprints and you want to switch to C++ or a programming language, it's much easier because you understand the high-level concepts behind what makes a software run. And then you just need to learn some syntax and some function names, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you see actual games being made with your tutorials? Maybe people showcasing their stuff on Discord, for example?
Yes, I also have a channel on Discord where people can share their work, and I see a lot of these mini games, game jam projects. I get reference on YouTube videos like, oh, I made this game with the help of tutorials from Ali, and yeah, I see a lot of these things, and yeah, definitely puts a smile on my face.
Nice, nice. Do you see people maybe collaborating with each other on your Discord as well?
Yeah. Also, I have a collaborators channel where people can look for, oh, I'm looking for a 3D artist. I'm looking for a visual effects artist. I'm looking for this. And I, every now and then, open up the conversations and see what people are looking for, if they found each other or not. And yeah, I've seen some people that started working together.
Mm-hmm. Does it look like, the audience is kind of growing over time in terms of their skill level? In terms of the quality of projects?
Yeah, so definitely I, mainly with the, so my highest tier on Patreon, I offer a monthly hour call with me. And there are people that have been taking this monthly call for over a year now, almost a year and a half or 2 years. And I see their progress on a monthly basis for so long, and it's really amazing to see. Just recently, one of them sent me a prototype of the game. They're like, oh, I made the prototype, it's ready, I have a bunch of mechanics, I have a tutorial level, I have a dialogue system, can you play it and check it out? And I played it and I was like, this is fun. This is really impressive. And of course, seeing their progress from years prior to what they've built now, and that person was completely had zero background in programming and was an artist. So to see the complexity that they were able to make in a year and a half was really, really impressive. So definitely the skill level has increased.
Great. And how do you help these people that, for example, join your one-on-one calls?
It depends. Everyone is different, and people want these calls for different reasons. Some people just want help fixing a bug. They don't know where to look, or they're stuck somewhere. Some people want advice on their game itself, like maybe it's game design advice. Oh, I have this mechanic, but I don't know how to make it fun, or why doesn't it feel good? And some people also want a recurring sort of session a month that they know they can count on as a milestone check to keep them motivated, because of course motivation is one of the hardest things to keep up when making a game or making any project that takes years. So a lot of people use this as like, okay, this is my time to show Ali what I've done, get feedback on what I've done, and try to ask some questions that I've had along the way. Of course, you can Google these things, you can use ChatGPT, you can find answers, but having a person to talk to will keep you more motivated than just talking to a chatbot.
What's your kind of overall mindset with YouTube? You've mentioned that obviously this is something that your main focus is to make something you actually want to make, something that you will enjoy making. So you won't be making a tutorial about, I don't know, how to make adult games, for example, in Unreal, because it might not be the topic that you are personally passionate about. So would you say that you are treating it as a business, or like maybe a teaching platform, or is it just a creative side project that pays off?
Yeah. Right now, it's a mix of all three. So the main goal is to teach. The main goal is to add educational value, free educational value to YouTube, because I found it very difficult when learning Unreal Engine to find these things. So the main goal is I want to share this knowledge, and not just from an altruistic point of view, I want to give back to the world and I'm super selfless. No, it's not like that. It's because I enjoy it, because I find it personally fulfilling, and it is also a creative outlet. I do my own video editing, thumbnail design, of course, all of the tutorial planning, the curriculum, how to structure a lesson. And every one of these fields is a creative outlet for me. So I really, really enjoy, after finishing a video and just looking at what it took to make this video, even if someone is not going to see the amount of work. Sometimes in a thumbnail, I would spend hours polishing a tiny, tiny detail that might even be cropped by YouTube at the end of the day, but I know it's there, and that
Wow.
alone is fulfilling. And this process gives me joy. So at the moment, this is how I'm treating it. But if I can make it into a business and keep that feeling, that would be the goal. And I'm hoping that as time goes on and the YouTube channel grows, I can figure out if once it becomes a business, does it take away that sense of fulfillment and gratification that I get from the creative side, or will it still be there? Maybe not as strong, because now I need to focus on what makes views and what makes money if my livelihood depends on it. But at the same time, still keep that creative outlet.
So you would say that when you just finished making a video, like recording a video, took you 2 weeks to record, and you're looking at the raw footage, does it not terrify you, knowing that you've gone through all of this and now there's like 4 days of editing?
That is my favorite part.
Wow.
When I'm done recording and I have all of the content and now I get to create the video, this is the most satisfying parts, because now I've done the heavy lifting. I've done the planning. I've done the recording, which is also sometimes very nerve-wracking for me to like start recording and then speak to a camera and then there's no one around. Even though I've done this now for so long, it's still sometimes like, okay, I have to calm myself down, press records, and then after a while, the nervousness goes down. But once I'm done recording and the video editing process starts, I'm super happy. I am adding all these animations, creating all these diagrams. I'm figuring out, okay, what's the best way to help get the viewer to learn the topic I'm trying to teach through editing. So I don't use editing as a way to keep viewers engaged or do like retention video editing. All of the edits that I make are to serve one purpose. How would the edit help teach the topic better? And it is a very, very creative process for me. So I enjoy it so much.
Mm-hmm. Is there like one specific part of the process that you procrastinate the most?
Recording. Yeah, I plan everything beforehand. I have a very detailed plan. And before I sit down and press the record button, I was like, maybe refine the plan a bit more. Maybe just make some animations first. Maybe I'll work on the thumbnail and then record. Then it's like, okay, I have to start recording at some point.
Would you be open to start creating paid courses? Do you feel like you have the knowledge to pass on to people and actually charge money for it?
And I would definitely be open to, and I've considered a lot creating paid courses. And I've got a lot of requests as well, like, hey, do you have any courses on Udemy? Do you have some other content other than YouTube that I could pay for to learn? So I saw interest there, and if I would do that, that would mean that I try to make it more polished, spend more time on it, because I have to add more value than the free content that I give. 100%, I would still focus on foundational things. At the end of the day, it will be gameplay programming. I won't go into technical art. That I cannot teach. And I would say definitely you would need a seasoned game developer to do things like level design, materials, textures, all these things, animations. I won't be able to teach these things. But what I will be able to teach on a very foundational level with proper practices and on par with AAA studio coding standards would be gameplay programming. And that's definitely something I've considered doing. And I've come across the question, do I start a complete beginner course that tells someone like how to open up the engine, how to install it, how to install Visual Studio and run it and things like that? Or do I already target intermediate developers who know the basics of the engine, but now want to learn best practices and how to make something scalable that they would actually write in a production game? The ultimate goal will be to make a modular course where you, based on your skill level, can pick which module you want to learn. It will be very difficult to make it linear and all cohesive. It's possible, but very difficult. And that's what I want to aim for, at least. If I fall a bit short, that's okay, but that would be the aim.
So in teaching, you would say that, for example, with this course, your bigger goal would be to help people build an actual career.
Well, the skills that I will teach can be used in a lot of different ways. So I want to teach the proper skills, whether you use it to get a job because now you know what the market looks for, or build a game because now you know what it takes to build a game from a technical perspective, or even just as a hobby. If you're making a game as a hobby, writing proper code is still very, very important, because if you just end up with a mess of a game and you want to add a new feature and realize, oh, adding this new feature is going to take me months, you lose motivation and the hobby becomes a chore. So it's really important to learn the proper skills, and then you can do with it what you will.
Is it something that you've already kind of planned when you're thinking to go ahead to actually start scripting this course? Is it something that you thinking to do this year, maybe?
I have multiple outlines of different courses. An outline of a beginner course, outline of an intermediate course, an outline of a very specific, like how to make a Souls-like game course. So I have these outlines on what the structure could potentially look like. But if I do this, I have to put YouTube on pause. It's impossible for me to plan a full curriculum as well as make videos, as well as my full-time job. So I have to just now prioritize what's more important to me. Every time I think of putting YouTube on pause, it makes me sad. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait a bit more. Maybe not now, maybe later.
In terms of YouTube, in terms of your current kind of growth, are you happy with how the channel is growing? Do you maybe feel like some things are slowing down? I don't know, looking at the statistics in the dashboard.
So far, it's been pretty linear in the growth. So the monthly new subscribers, monthly views, monthly watch time has been fairly linear and steady for a long time. And personally, I'm very, very happy with the growth of the channel, especially because I didn't intend on doing any of this 2 years ago. It just happened, and then suddenly, like, oh, I have a YouTube channel. So every time I upload a video or respond to a comment or see one of my videos in the recommended section, I'm like, oh, I did this. So and makes me really, really happy. So I'm overjoyed with with the current growth of the channel.
Would you say that, just being proud of what you're creating is a big factor for you?
I think pride is very important. And this is the intrinsic motivation that I talked about at the beginning. I get a lot of motivation from the people around me, a lot of encouragement from people I don't really know and never met. I remember one person wrote this really, really long comment saying, hey, I know that I'm just some random guy on YouTube, but I really like the way you teach. And he was kept encouraging me and motivating me. He's like, please keep doing this, not for me, but for yourself and for the audience. I was like, I'm really happy with this person that I don't really know. And these things keep me motivated. But a big part of it has to come internally, because I can't rely always on these external factors. And the internal motivation is pride. Once I finish doing something, before putting it out into the world, before putting it on YouTube, before showing it to any of my friends or family, I watch the full video. And if I feel proud of it, that already is motivation to do the next thing. I've had some videos where I finished completely and then deleted. I was like, this is nice for me. I'm proud of it, but it doesn't fit with the current sort of vibe of the channel that I'm going for, or the aesthetic. Some short videos that were creative to make, and I'm happy with them, but I'm like, yeah, this is not what I want to go for. This is not what I want to teach. I'm still proud of them, and they do give me motivation, and nobody saw them. So I think it's really important to be proud of your work and do something that you yourself will want to watch.
Wow, that's beautiful. And where do you see your channel going in the next maybe 5 to 10 years? Do you see yourself going full-time at YouTube, maybe full-time educational kind of business? Or do you see it maybe staying part-time, maybe staying as your hobby, something that you do to fulfill your creative desires?
I personally watch a ton of educational YouTube videos, like Kurz gesagt videos, TED videos, these animated short videos that teach you a topic, like on, I don't know, science topic, something about consciousness or something about history. And when I watch these videos, I leave feeling, well, first of all, that I spent my time on the internet doing something useful. I've acquired knowledge. And at the same time, it's very entertaining and makes me sort of want to keep exploring more about a certain topic. Ultimately, that's what I would like my channel to be. I want it to be the go-to place for learning about game development, potentially expand beyond a specific tool or engine, and just teach topics that get people excited about making games. And hopefully also bring AAA, not necessarily AAA, but just bring very experienced game developers on the channel where I can ask them questions and have them give their years of experience and lessons learned to my audience as well, so that it is this place on the internet where people go to, of course, learn how to properly build games, but also get motivated about building the fun things, the things people want to play, the things they would want to play themselves. And if they know how to do this through my channel, then that would be amazing.
Amazing, yeah. You would say that you would slightly step away from the technical aspects, and you would want to make something that's more popular, something that kind of inspires people, more motivational content.
I would always keep it tied to the technical aspect, like the GDC, the Game Developers Conference. You have all these talks from, I don't know, the developers of Spider-Man at Insomniac, and they would speak about how they built their web swinging mechanic. When I watch these talks, it's really motivating. And to bring one of these developers on my channel and have them explain a topic like this, how did you achieve this really satisfying feeling of swinging in between the streets of New York? And if they come to the channel, explain a technical topic like this from a game design perspective, but also the physics that goes behind it, as they have done in their GDC talk, the viewer leaves having learned a lot about game development. They're high-level concepts. Maybe they don't know how to apply it specifically to Unreal Engine, because then, okay, I know that I need to create tension in this rope, but what is tension in Unreal Engine? And then maybe I have another video on Unreal Engine on tension. So it would be this go-to place where I get motivated, I get high-level ideas, and then I dive deeper into the how behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm loving this long-term vision for the channel. You're considering to start inviting, guests, industry specialists, experts onto the channel to share their expertise.
Yeah, definitely something I would really like to do, and have started making a list of people that I would potentially like to invite.
Yeah, very exciting. Looking forward to that. So finally, if someone wants to learn more about you, about what you do, where should they go? Where can they find you? What would you recommend to watch, first of all?
Well, my main presence online is YouTube. So that's where I'd recommend people wanting to learn game development, come to my YouTube channel. If you want to engage with the community, come to the Discord server. There's a lot of really passionate people, a lot of people that help each other. Every time I open the questions channel, I see people just answering questions and trying to help each other. It makes me really happy that there is this community. So if you want to be part of it, join the Discord server as well. And and on my YouTube channel, I also have one video that's just about me. So if you want to know more about me, you can watch that sort of introduction video on how I started.
Perfect. So I'll leave some links in the description to your social media. This has been extremely insightful to me to understand better the motivation behind what makes you keep going and what your long-term vision is. So thank you very much for coming. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
This was really fun. Thanks for inviting me.
That's it for today. If you found this episode helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the links in the description. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.